have a whole different perspective on goals now. And it's, you can set a goal and really strive to work towards that. But life happens and things can change, and that's okay if you don't hit every single goal. That's okay.
Absolutely.
So I'm learning that.
Yeah, I think that's such a good mentality, and I feel like that's a big shift that I had as well. I used to not set goals because I was like, oh, well, then if I don't achieve them, that's a failure, and I don't want to do that, and so I just would avoid it completely. Sorry, I'm about to sneeze, but I don't know when it's going to come, so everybody get ready for this.
Cut! Hey everyone, welcome to the Today I Am podcast. I'm Taylor, here with Megan and Sam.
We're excited to share stories from our lives, past and present, and talk through the lessons we've learned along the way.
It's all about reflection, not perfection. We're here to keep it real, create a space for open and honest conversations, and build a community. So grab a seat,
Get comfy.
And join us each week as we figure out who we are today
Together. How's everybody's week? What's going on? What's happening? What's new?
Well, my love for Crocs was absolutely validated this week. A few days ago, it was like slushy outside, and so I love my Crocs, but they don't come up past like my ankles, so when I'm stepping in like puddles, it's not the best.
They're not a rain boot.
Well, so then ironically, I ended up wearing...
I'm just picturing you walking through like a swamp.
Oh, no.
In Crocs.
On my tiptoes, I will do it. Not on purpose, it's usually in parking lots where I don't have a choice, but I have been in that situation. So then I'm like, you know what, I bought these like kind of ankle booty, rain boot type boots for like when I go disc golfing and stuff last year. So I was like, you know what, those are perfect, your feet won't get wet. No. Step out of the car at the grocery store, fall. Straight down. And I haven't done that once this
Like
year
on
yet.
on your butt?
Like, just like a nice graceful, like, whoop, down.
But onto your body. Like,
Oh, yeah.
what part of your body was on the
Onto
ground?
your body.
The whole hip down, like the whole side.
Oh.
And all I could think about in this whole time was, if I was wearing my fuzzy Crocs, I wouldn't have fallen. No, I was not severely injured. There's definitely some, like, soreness, but...
Yeah.
Were there people around?
Yes.
Did anyone, like, come up? Because
No.
I know sometimes that has happened to me before, and it's more embarrassing when people are like, oh my God, are you okay? And I'm like, please just let me lay here in misery.
Let me just imagine that no one saw me.
Yeah, I don't want to know.
Please. I'm confident people saw. I made zero eye contact and did not welcome the, like, oh gosh, do you need help? Got right up, walked into the store, and grocery shopped with, like, mud basically all over the side of me. And yeah. So, moral of the story is, I should not leave the house without my fuzzy Crocs.
So we really do need Crocs to be a sponsor here to, like, help
Truly.
Sam's
Well, how am I supposed to
health.
afford replenishing every pair of shoes with Crocs at this point because they're the only trusted shoe I own to not hurt me?
That's astounding. You need to get the Croc boots.
I want them.
Oh, she's like, yeah, on the wish
She's
list.
like, I have a birthday and Christmas
I'm
coming
like,
up.
nobody's getting me
Hello.
them? That is really
True.
offensive. No.
Okay.
After the wedding, that's where my next investments are going, is maybe upgrading
Crocs?
the shoe wear into Crocs. Number one purchase. We don't need to buy a home after the wedding. I need more Crocs.
Well, also, though, how much are Crocs? Like, how much are the boots?
They're not that
Very
cheap.
pricey.
They're pricey.
Okay, but $100.
For a plastic shoe
No,
with
I
holes
understand.
in it.
Whoa,
But
whoa, whoa.
As far as
Rubber,
not buying
plastic.
a house because you're making that purchase,
True.
I think we're good.
You can do both.
Decisions have to be made here, guys.
And I think if that's the amount of money making or breaking a mortgage for you,
Probably don't buy it.
just maybe hold off on that.
Sam's vision board for 2026 will be a house and Crocs.
Just
You're
one
doing both.
pair.
Yeah, just one pair of Crocs and one house,
One
and that's
tiny
all
house.
I'm doing. 2025, we're already jam-packed. 2026, the year.
No Crocs on 2025s.
Nope.
God.
I don't actually agree to that because there's a chance I will buy a pair of Crocs, but
Hi. Well, you need your wedding Crocs, so.
I have them.
Oh.
You already have white ones?
Yeah,
New, though, for your wedding?
not new, and that's where there might be some new white ones for the wedding. I haven't decided
I
yet.
think you deserve that at minimum.
But the nice thing about Crocs is I can clean them and they'll basically be like new.
Look how excited she is.
I'm not joking. What I felt the very first thing in my brain was if I was wearing my damn Crocs, this wouldn't have happened.
Not me thinking she just said if I was marrying my damn Crocs. I was like,
Andrew, you're out.
hold on.
She's like, yeah, if I was marrying Crocs, we would have no problems in my life.
But like, actually, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to talk about from this week? Do you have any hot highlights?
No.
Any fallings?
I'm going to start calling it hot highlights every week also. Okay, because it's kind of a perfect transition of like 2026, vision board, what do we want? We can't go to 2026 yet because right now, as people are seeing this, it's New Year's Eve. And of course, that is the season of resolutions and goals and starting fresh and all of that. I know some people find this time really intimidating. A few years ago, found a love for goal setting, manifesting, vision boarding. I love it all. I'm obsessed now. I do it probably like
daily.
Crazy amount. But I just really love it. It's such a good way to like find motivation and just like feel that energy again and all of that. So today I am setting goals for the new year.
Nice.
I love it. Okay, so this is obviously a big topic. So I do have some questions that I want to kind of like start us off with.
Let's do it.
So let me just
Hit us with the hard questions.
Okay, so first, this is maybe going to be a short answer, and that's okay. But are you a person that sets goals? What is your, like, both of your relationship with goal setting?
Go ahead.
I used to be a person who just like would pick like I kind of fell into those typical buckets of like, oh, I'm gonna work out more, I'm gonna like surface level goals that to me were goals. But I think the last like especially 2 years through our lovely vision board nights, I've really learned to like same as you, like I found that love for goal setting. So I find I go a lot deeper in it now. It's a lot less like I'm gonna save more money, I'm gonna work out a bit more. Like those are always goals, but they're goals that seem to also be the ones that fall the quickest. So I find that I've built my relationship and it's gotten healthier with goal setting.
Nice.
I would agree. Like, I definitely have always been a very goal-oriented person, and I am, like, in work, I always, I think just everyone, that's just kind of just like the workforce is creating goals and working towards something. But I am very, like, a very goal-driven person, and I would agree with you. The past few years, I've gotten just really more in depth with it, I think, and I also think I have a different perspective on it now, where before it was like, okay, if I say I'm going to work out 5 times a week and then I don't do that, well, I'm failing at my goals, and so why should I, like I shouldn't do it. And that's not, I have a whole different perspective on goals now, and it's, you can set a goal and really strive to work towards that, but life happens and things can change, and that's okay if you don't hit every single goal. That's okay.
Absolutely.
So I'm learning that.
Yeah, I think that's such a good mentality, and I feel like that's a big shift that I had as well. I used to not set goals because I was like, oh, well, then if I don't achieve them, that's a failure, and I don't want to do that, and so I just would avoid it completely. Sorry, I'm about to sneeze, but I don't know when it's going to come, so everybody get ready for this.
Cut!
So I think like just having that shift in relationship is so good. I also want to like touch on something you said, and I'm not going to be able to say the exact words that you just said, but of like, you can strive for a goal and then it's like, oh, life happens and you don't, but also you can change what's important to you, or you can realize that what you actually need to reach that goal isn't worth giving up other things. I think that that's also a big thing that as I've gotten deeper into setting goals, has been such a core value of setting them, is also when I set those bigger goals, or maybe those harder goals to reach, is being really clear with like, what am I going to give up in order to reach that goal, and is that still worth it to me?
For sure.
Similar to that as well, I think that I've almost somewhat-ish removed the word like goal from this process, because I find like I'm really hard on myself in the same way, like, oh, I'm going to save $10,000 in a year, like, that's a goal a friend actually did just share. That's why that came into my mind. I am not saving $10,000 next year. But
you're
like,
spending $10,000 next
Never
year.
say never.
I have Crocs and a wedding.
No, Crocs are 2026.
But after the wedding's halfway through 2025. Let's not rule it out of that year. But so I find that I have found the love of goal setting through changing the narrative of goal setting to more intention setting. And like, so that, instead of being like, this is my exact goal, it's like, what do I want to, like, it's almost like a feeling, or like a path. Like, what path do I want to give myself to go down, and like, what do I want to achieve going down that path?
I love that you just said that, like the feeling, because I think that's something, especially when we do our girls' vision board night, it just makes it's a vibe. It's setting the tone of a feeling when we're cutting out the pictures and we're putting it on our boards. Like, it's setting that tone for our year ahead. And yes, we're setting goals or whatever you want to call them, but it's creating that feeling of how you want to feel in that next year or whatever the time frame is. But I love that word, like the feeling.
Yeah, like it's just like, I like a path more than like a, I want to know what my path I'm going down. I don't think I can set my destination kind of thing, but I want a clear path so it still feels like I'm putting something into it.
Yeah. I think that this is something that I have written down as another question, but just with that kind of perspective from you guys, I think I do have a little bit more of a structured perspective on goal setting, and that's just what works for me. So I'm going to like quickly explain that, and then I kind of want to hear your perspective on like how far close you are from that, and like just overall, how do you set goals, or how do you set, Sam, with what you said, your intention for the year? So I set goals for the year, but I also do this monthly where I build some sort of a vision board. At the beginning of the year, we obviously do it all as girls, and mine is like in a notebook that I've had every year that we've done. It's in there, it's cut out, it's physical. But monthly, I make it on Canva, it's with Pinterest pictures, and then that becomes my desktop background for the month. So that is very based on the aesthetics of the month, and you know, there's all the colors are matching and it all looks nice, because I also have to look at it every single day as my desktop background. So I need it to look nice.
That's a good motivator though, to like go into your computer every day, go to work, whatever you're doing, and you see that all right there. That's such a good motivator and reminder of why you set those goals and what they are.
Totally. So with that, then I kind of start that way always, with that visual representation of the vibe or the aesthetic of that period. And then from there, and this is where I know I got a little crazy, is that I make a Notion board every month that then has my actual goals. So
Megan's full-time job is goal setting. Her part-time job is her actual career.
It's so funny because I actually look forward to it so much. Like when it gets close to the end of the month, I'm like, I get to make a new one. It's like so exciting to me. But yeah, so I make a Notion board that then has more tangible goals and kind of like the steps to get there. So I'll have my like 2 or 3 goals. So a few months ago, for example, like this is a really easy one. My goal was to get my spin certification. So then on the board was then I planned out like what days can I train for spin? What days am I going to spin? I also had maybe like some more specific food goals that month, because I knew I was going to be training a lot more. So I was going to need to feel my body better, and I needed to be thinking about meal prepping more, those sorts of things. So I am a little bit more like, I need those tangible steps of like, here's the vibe, here's the goals from that, and then here's the steps I'm going to do to get there.
Yeah.
I know that's intense, and I know it's intense that I do it a minimum of 13 times a year.
I love it for you.
So I was now the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
How do you guys set goals? How do you set that intention? What are you doing to prep for what that vision board is going to look like for this coming year?
Mine is definitely based off, that's why I think I like that you said the feeling word so much, is I try to, I kind of just like, this sounds so silly, but I like sit down with myself and do a bit of a reflection on my past year.
I love that.
I look back at my goals that I made the past year, see how they made, like, I'm going to say this a lot, but like that feeling, see how they made me feel, see how I felt if I reached them, see how I felt if I didn't reach them, say how, or feel, what am I saying? I'm saying feel too many times. I'm going to stop.
You feel things.
Yeah. But I go through that and kind of just think it through, to then bring myself to where I am now, and then do a like view forward for my next year and think about maybe some of the things I want to pull forward from last year. Maybe some things I'm like, absolutely not, that did not work, that, you know, I want to completely pivot from that. And I really just see how I want to feel going into that next year.
I just have to say quickly, I love that you also leave yourself room to say like, what did I do last year that I don't want to bring forward? Whether it's just like, I don't know, it's just like, oh, I'm in a different chapter of life that was great for last year. Or if it's something like, why would I have ever thought I wanted to do that? Or like, oh, that was so unachievable. Like, I don't need to do that anymore. Yeah. Rather than it being this like, oh, I failed, I didn't do it. It's just like, oh, now I learned from that that's not important to me.
Totally.
So I can,
and that's something I would have done before, is be like hard on myself that I didn't achieve it, or feel like I need to really amp it up for my next goal, and I would bring it into the next year being like, okay, you need to do this because you didn't do it last year.
Totally. But
that just doesn't serve me well. And so I simply just, have changed my mindset on that. And then that's basically it. I write them down so I have it tangible, and then we do our girls' vision board. I also create a Pinterest board So I just put it all in there because I also like just that kind of going through it. It's so fun. I can look at the board as I go through my year. And that's kind of it. It's not anything crazy, but it works.
Totally.
So listening to you guys, it's kind of funny. And I don't think I've had this like reflective moment yet, so bear with me because you're all going through it with me. But I admire so wholeheartedly, and like specifically, like especially like your process, Meg, because like you said, it is a bit more intense.
Admire or
no, like
are
I'm
concerned?
I truly do admire it though, because that I know it's not a chore to you. Like I know.
Yeah, you enjoy it.
Yeah.
It would be different if this was something that you were putting on yourself.
Totally.
Like, you have to do this.
Like if I thought this was something that you were like making yourself do but you didn't want to do, then I would not use the word admire. But like I truly do admire the love you have for setting that like visual like goal setting process. And like Tay, even for you to like you take the time to like reflect and everything. I really am a wing it person with this stuff, which is kind of wild.
But I kind of like that.
But I'm such a planner in every aspect of my life. Like if you don't give me a start and end time to something, like I'm stressed. So it's weird to me sitting here being like, so the way that I do my vision board is instead of doing it in a notebook, and Tay, you do the same thing as I do, and I love that we started doing this, and I'm gonna do this until I have a wall full. But what we do is we take a picture frame, like a glass picture frame, and we put our pictures right on it, and then it like hangs on a wall. So I have mine both hanging in my bedroom right now, so I can see my one from 2 years ago, my one from this year. And so I actually, like, going into our girls' like vision board day that will be coming up here soon and will be done by the time this is out, what my process will probably look like is I don't even use magazines because that also just stresses me out. I just make a huge Google Doc with like 5 or 6 pages of pictures that I've just decided are gonna like, and in the moment of picking those like pictures that I'm gonna print out, I would say is my only reflective time. And so like with the visual stuff, like to be honest, vision board nights stressed me out before I actually got into them. But you guys, but like not, and I'm really grateful that I've gotten over that. Like it doesn't stress me out for the record right now.
It's like coming up in real life, and we're like, so you don't have to come.
I was like, I can't make
I have uninvited myself from every night going forward now.
No, I want to say I'm sorry that stressed you out.
But it's not like a real stress or like something. Well, actually, to be honest, it's probably something that I would like lay in bed thinking about before bed because I'm such a not creative person in that aspect. And so
That's
where
fair.
it's like natural for you to do it 13 times, for me to do it once in the year, I'm like, I don't have a Pinterest board for my goal setting. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I'm a lot more of like and I don't even have like a journal I keep or anything.
Yeah.
But I still feel like come this time of year, I can produce a similar outcome, but it's a lot less like reflectiveness before and more like, again, maybe I'm just in that feeling stage of like, when I'm looking at those pictures, like, what do I feel like for next year?
Well, I also wonder for you, Sam, because like you said before, you are such a planner. You love to have everything laid out. You like to have a schedule. I wonder if for this one thing in your life, it works out better for you just to not.
To, like,
you can
wing
just
it?
go
Yeah.
with whatever feels good for you in that moment. Because maybe if you planned it out to a T too much, like, then it's not gonna serve you in that way.
The one thing I will say that I do like to plan, and I've already I start earlier in the year, is
I was gonna say this.
I started this 2 years ago when we started our vision board nights, and this is almost like what calmed me about doing our vision board nights, is instead of trying to plan out like these visuals of what my whole year is gonna look like and all that, I just picked a word, and it's something another friend shared with me that they do, and I am obsessed with it. But I have truly, in the last 2 years, so I'll share, like, my word 2 years ago was balance, because I felt like my world was, like, I didn't feel like there was any balance, like, work, friends, family, like, I didn't feel level set. I felt like I was always kind of on, like, going up and down a hill. And so then, for the year 2023, my year to, like, go into the year with was balance, and that was what my entire vision board was based out of.
Yeah.
Whereas last year, my word, I felt like I had balanced out kind of, and I did feel like success through having that word being picked and like having it on my wall and I look at it every day.
Yeah.
Then I picked intentionality because I was like, okay, I've started to balance out, but now I need to be more intentional about like what I actually want to do. And so then this year, I'm going to pick a new word, and I'm pretty sure I know what my word is, and maybe if you ask about it later, I'll share later maybe. Yeah, so my 2024...
No, 2025, sorry.
But it's a teaser of what it'll be.
Bam. So I'm really, like, I find for those people out there who maybe are like me, where it's like you hear a vision board and you're like, oh, like it's an overwhelming thought.
It is,
to somebody
because it's
who's
also
not creative.
It's also so overwhelming. Sorry, I
No,
just
go ahead.
totally cut you off,
Go ahead.
Sam. But I feel like it's also very overwhelming sometimes to think about your whole year,
Yes.
because that's a long time. And so that's probably why it's also good that you do kind of break it down to each month as well, because when you think, what do I want to do for my whole year? Like, that's a lot. And I don't know what I'm doing tonight for dinner, so I don't know what I'm doing in 7 months or want to be doing.
Totally.
And I know it doesn't have to be that way. It can just be, okay, this is what I would like to do and what we talked about before. But that is really overwhelming when you're thinking about a whole year.
Yeah. And then not being creative on top of that.
Yeah, and it's stressful. Yeah,
but, again, like, just want to reiterate, like, that's why I think I view it more as, like, a path now, because I'm like, my word sets my path for the year. Yeah. I have zero idea what I'm going to be doing in 3 months. Like, that's a reality. My life changes so much lately.
Yeah.
But I know that, like, my focus will be whatever that word is I chose in each decision I make.
It's kind of like a guiding, sounds so cheesy, a kind of guiding light that it brings you back all the time, that you will just always naturally come back to for that year.
So that's, long story short, that's what our vision board night brings me, is it now does not stress me out as a non-creative person. Thank God. I do truly find the joy in it. I view my process, and, like, listening to yours, it's very interesting, but I've just, like, fully realized, I'm like, no, my process is totally different, and that's okay.
But I think that's also part of the beauty of it. One, when we do that vision board night, just our friend group naturally is that way. Who cares? You can show up and not put a single thing on your vision board and no one is going to judge.
I was going to say, it's also probably, I would hope that some of the stress also got relieved from you, because that first year, all of us came just being like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. Yeah. Like, some of us do it in a notebook. Some of us just do it on a literal piece of paper. Some of us do it in a picture frame. Some of us, like, I don't know, eventually maybe somebody's like, I'm just going to do it digitally from the beginning. Like, it's not like, okay, I bought everybody a poster board and everybody, like, bring your one magazine and, like, whatever. So I think that's probably also what's nice of, there's going to be 7 or 8 of us doing it this year. Yeah. And it just being so open of, like, whatever works for you. We just want a time to, like, have a little bit of accountability and also, like, excitement of what we all have to come.
Well, and what I love about our girls' nights specifically, because shout out to girls' nights, you need them in your friend group. They are the sole thing that keeps you going sometimes. But the thing I do love that has never stressed me out about our girls' night vision boards is
snacks.
Well, yes, absolutely.
We're like, snacks. The wine?
No, the wine would stress me out.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know Sam at all.
Wine? Coffee? Eggnog latte, maybe?
I'm like, let's do a craft and drink wine. So I was like,
my nightmare.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm actually up. I will not be there this year. Sorry. But no, I love sitting around and talking about my goals with my friends. Like that, the goal setting process, that's never been
And we do our little presentation.
Yeah. Like, I love knowing at the beginning of the year, like, okay, great. Like, these are the things you're focused on. Like, I can't wait to root you on for it. Or, oh, it's interesting. You chose those things. Yeah. I'm excited to see, like, how that comes out. Or, like, even just getting to share mine and having that accountability with our friends. Like, I feel like if you guys saw me making a decision that went so against what I said I was doing a vision board night, like, you truly would be like, hey, like, let's just, like, maybe loop back. Like, is this something you're doing for you? And that's kind of that, like, accountability with your friends. So I love
me too,
that part of our friends.
I was going to say that too. And it's just, like, it's so nice. We're all a part of each other's life. And our other girlfriends as well. Like, we all are so intertwined in each other's life and know what is going on. But sometimes we are really busy and, like, you don't know what's going on. So doing that and just knowing where people's area of focus is or what they're...
Just, like, where our heads are at.
Yeah, it's so nice. And it's just it's such a fun day. And I love that we've kind of, like, created this tradition that we've done. This will be the 3rd year now.
Yeah.
And, like, now we have to do this every year. No matter what. I just love that we have that.
Yeah.
This is your sign to do a vision board night with your girlfriends.
Yes. Or with your partner or with your family or anything. Yeah.
Honestly, alone.
Yeah. Truly. Also, if you make a vision board, oh my gosh, tag us in it because I want to see them. Yes. Oh my god, that is like my dream.
Your vision board will be on Megan's desktop if it's aesthetic.
Seriously. I will like.
But if it's not aesthetic, not on the desktop.
It'll be on
Send it to Taylor and Sam.
First, what I was just gonna say really quick to circle back for 1 second to your way of setting stuff. I do also think, like, give yourself some credit for the time and the energy that you put in, because also you mentioned weeks ago that you were already thinking about what your word was going to be for next year. So I do agree with what you were saying, Tay, about, like, maybe it's a good thing that this isn't something that you have this super strict plan about, because then that just, like, lets it flow more. But I do think that throughout the year, you do have, like...
You think about it more than you're maybe giving credit.
Totally. I think so. And I think that's why I love the words part so much, because I find, like, this whole year, I think I've said the word intentional, like, a billion times.
And I feel like you said the same thing about balance the year before,
exactly.
which is awesome.
And like not even intentionally saying intentional, but like it just like creates this pattern in your brain, and then just like no matter what. Whereas if I just like had a bunch of pictures like, oh my god, I'm wedding planning, I'm growing my career, I'm doing all these things, my brain doesn't recognize that as something to remember. I'm not a visual person at all. Like I'm very much a like word person apparently.
Yeah. But that's so nice that then it's able to like get kind of morphed into whatever works for everyone, because clearly like what Meg does, it doesn't resonate with me. What I do doesn't necessarily resonate with you, vice versa. We can all make it our own and still have a similar outcome of like we've set goals for the year and we're all you know like working towards that in some way.
And it also challenges you in a way. Like again, I would never on my own make a vision board, and I can truly make that a statement. Like I did not ever once in my entire life before 2 years ago put things on paper that said this was going to be my vision board, or like create a Canva anything. And I love it. Like I love having a visual to look at.
I love it.
I did not love the build.
You love it.
This is a paid promotion by Vision Boards, aka Megan.
We need to make one of those TikToks where it's like the person's filming, like whatever, but it's me, and it's like Sam's like, I love vision boards. I'm excited to set goals for the coming year.
I'm not here just for the snacks.
Or the wine, apparently.
I don't know where that came from.
But yeah, no, so I think that's like what's changed it for me is that I enjoy doing that part because I found a way to make it my own.
I'm glad you found that.
Totally. Okay, first of all, also, if you are somebody that sets goals, DM me or something, because my goal setting system is actually about 10 more steps than what I explained. But I just don't. We don't need to get into that.
This
now.
podcast is 5 hours long, and it's only Megan explaining how she sets goals.
And we're asleep. No, I'm kidding.
Basically,
I'm Mayday snoring in the back.
Okay, but so then, like, next step in what I think a lot of people struggle with, and what we kind of talked about, like, why we didn't like setting goals before, is how do you guys find ways to? And I'm just gonna use goals, but like this can be that's not.
Hi, girlfriend.
I'm gonna just use the word goals, but like this can be resolutions, this can be just your vision, whatever. But how do you keep it throughout the year?
Like, how do you keep yourself on track?
Yeah, exactly. So if it's a tangible goal, let's say you are saying, oh, I'm gonna save $10,000 this year. Mm-hmm. How do you keep yourself accountable to that? Or Sam, like for you with your word, how do you keep that word like present throughout the year? I don't know what's happening here.
She just means her mom.
Okay.
I feel like similar.
I'm surprised you guys are having a hard time with this question. Because I thought it was such an obvious answer, especially for you two.
Can you tell us the obvious answer?
I thought that it was gonna be like. I thought it was gonna just be like, oh, quick answer that you guys have it in a picture frame and you see it, and that just like.
Well, yeah, that was the first thing. I was thinking maybe I was getting more deep.
Yeah, but I was for sure overcomplicating.
But as you were saying that, what also just went into my head was, I am just a rule follower. And so I've said
like, I might get in trouble.
Megan is going to look at my picture frame.
But honestly, I seriously am. And so I think it's just like, okay, well, you've done this, and so you're just going to do it. Like, you just do it. But I think that is accurate. Like, it's on my wall in my office. And so I look at it every single day. Obviously, that's going to be something that I can see those pictures. It's reminding me what goals I set and what I'm working towards. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't think there's something like tangible to actually say. It's just that I like to follow the rules.
I do think that's interesting though, because I am sure, and I cannot think of something right now, but I'm sure that there is some sort of rule that you don't follow.
Oh, for sure. I'm not saying I'm perfect over here.
I don't mean like, okay, obviously like you've sped
yeah.
or like things like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like there probably are things that even maybe you've put on your board that then you're like, that's not realistic or whatever.
For sure.
And so I think it's also maybe the like tangible thing that somebody could take away from that is like finding those rules that mean enough to you to keep following for the year, and then set goals in those areas.
Well, that's what I was going to say is like they're important to me.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm obviously going to want to strive for and try to reach. But like I said at the beginning of the episode, I think it's also, I say, oh, I'm a rule follower, so I want to do those. But I also have given myself that grace that it's like, if you don't hit every single goal, that's okay too. And
totally.
like, that's part of this process.
I also feel like for you, like thinking about your vision board last year, you had a really clear balance of some very tangible goals, like for example, running a marathon. And you had that on your board from the beginning, and you and Ty did it this year.
Yeah.
And I think even from the beginning, it was that you and Ty were going to run one together, and that's exactly what you did. And that was like very tangible, whatever. But then I also feel like you had maybe some more loose ones around just like family and time at home and things like that of while you were like on mat leave with Scotty. And you also did those sorts of things, but then it wasn't this super defined, like
I couldn't like take a box.
Yeah, it's not like I am spending 6 hours a day doing an intentional activity with Scotty, and then it's like every day you're like, Kate did it today, whatever.
It goes back to that like feeling again.
Yeah,
it was like
totally.
I wanted a calmer, quieter, slower life.
Yeah.
Like with my new family and things that I had.
Yeah.
And like reflecting on the year, I had that.
Totally.
Oh God.
Sam's like, I don't know anything.
I'm having some like
I'm
real accidental, what? How? Why? Can somebody say the word for me?
Existential.
Thank you. Crisis. Here where I'm like,
Are you
oh,
stressed
God.
right now talking about this? Because there's no right or wrong answer.
No,
with this.
I'm just like more so like, I'm just learning things about myself as we talk this out.
But through that learning, do you feel like stress coming up?
I don't
Or
think
are
I
you
don't
guys
worried
really
that goal
stressed?
setting? No, not stressed. But again, it's kind of funny because you're like, okay, like how do you like check in with yourself, keep yourself accountable throughout the year? And I'm like, I don't. And that's like a weird way to say it. And I'm sure I do in subconscious ways. And I think a lot of how I process things is maybe somewhere in the back of my, when I'm doing all these things in the front of my brain, my back of my brain is like making the wheels turn to make sure that I am staying on track.
For sure.
But and
I
like
think just even the fact that you're saying that you put this word and then you're noticing yourself saying that word
Yeah.
more.
and so I think, and this is not the right word to use to describe this, but I almost like brainwash myself with this word to be like, okay, this is like a focus
We're
for the
rule
year.
followers and brainwashed over
But like
here.
I don't, and that's
Sam's like,
That's how we set our goals.
and brainwashing myself.
I'm like, didn't we talk about how drugs are bad like 2 episodes ago?
Sorry, drugs are bad.
My favorite episode title of all time.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like I think the way that my brain must operate in this goal setting process that I'm still learning to do also, so maybe I need to like get better at some of this stuff is I think I just like set my intention. I see it every day, so like that does help for sure. Like where I grab my ring every day and where I put like all of that stuff it's right above there. So I do see it every day and like I do read it every day. Like I see my 2 words back to back. So, like, I think a lot of mine is just, like, subconscious processing, and then, like, around, like, I don't know, midway of the year, I'm like, oh, wow, I found I was more intentional this year. Like, I'm really happy with how that's going.
Okay, I'm just like so nosy. So
Go for it.
Can you tell us, because we don't know it yet, can you tell us your 2025 word, and then if it's not what you end up picking, we'll bleep it?
Tell us.
I'm 99% sure this will be my word. Right now I'm going through some, like, kind of, like, things where I might change it because of just, like, the way my life is going right now. But what I'm pretty confident I'm gonna pick is application.
Oh.
Love.
Oh, you could have given me 1,000 guesses, I wouldn't have said that.
No. But I love that.
And I can explain, like, so the reason I say application is because, like, when I look at my words, and this is how I'm like, it's like a 3-step process. So first step was balancing. So again, just, like, finding the balance in my life with all the things going on, which I did. I have felt, like, more controlled over that.
Yeah.
And then my second word was intentionality. Why can't I remember?
I think it was just intentional.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I also don't know if intentionality is actually a word.
Probably not, which is
I
probably
don't
why I didn't pick it
think
as a word. But
Well, that actually is a reason why
That's
you
not
would
on brand
pick
for you.
I mean, I couldn't say
it might be.
existential. Still can't say that word.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not
I don't know. I'm gonna leave it where Megan said it right. But,
Existential.
yeah. But I think the reason I want to do application is because this year, like, again, I've been more intentional, which has led me, like, I'm in, like, such a blessed spot right now in my life where, like, I'm probably the busiest I've ever been in my whole life. Like, it is crazy to me. Things keep on somehow coming onto my plate, but they're good things. Like, they're things that I want to do.
Yeah.
So I'm busy, but what I think I need to do is take all the skills that I've developed over these last 2 years and all the experiences I've had and all of these, like I've connected with so many amazing women at all these conferences and, like, learned so much, but, like, what have I done with that learning? And, like, I'm now have a great boss who I, like, really relate to, and she's been such a good mentor. So, like, there's so many things that I feel like I'm consuming all of this information in life that I need to apply it. Like, everything that the last 2 years of maybe, like, more intentional processes have gotten me, I want to take all of that and actually apply it to my real life. Because I feel like right now I'm talking the talk, but I'm not walking the walk.
Yeah.
I love though, Sam, just as you're explaining that, how you can kind of just see the like journey and the map that you've been on.
Yeah.
Megan's
Like,
like,
it
I have
started
made
as
you a vision board
balance.
already.
And it like I love that. I think that's so
100.
cool that you specifically can do because you've selected a word, and then you can just kind of look through the like your years. I think that's
I'm
so
like
cool.
hoping in 10 years that I have this really cool, and then we're gonna have a really wicked vision board night on our 10th anniversary of doing them, where we can take them all and kind of go like that. But I would love to see, like, that is something that I think I will find a lot of joy in doing, is like the journey of how, because in let's call it 7 years at this point, because this will be our 3rd year, my life is going to be so different. I don't know how it's going to be different, but I know it's going to be so different. So I might look back at balance and be like, wow, that was such a like nice year for that or something. Like I'm really excited for that process.
I love it.
Okay, so then last like big topic, there's a million questions in this space, but I want to talk about what our goals are for 2025.
Fun.
So I'm sure we all have a million things, and so to keep us like a little
Megan
bit
has
track.
107
Megan
and then
has
a
13 months
million
somehow.
sub items, so we
And then
can't.
subcategories under her subcategories
We can't
of
go
her vision
there.
board.
Well,
So
perhaps
pick a word.
Megan's like, you can summarize one word? I have like...
You know what's funny is I actually do typically have some sort of like a word as well that at least like kicks off my 10-step process. But it just, then it gets deeper and deeper. Whatever. Anyways.
We all have a process.
Okay. I want us to each all talk about 2 exciting things that are on our vision board this year.
Okay.
So it can be whatever. It can be a vibe or it can be a specific goal, whatever you want. But I want you to talk about 2 things. We can all take a second.
I
to
actually
think.
already have mine if you want
Also,
me to.
if you absolutely need to talk about
No,
more,
I just had more in my head, so I need to narrow it down myself of what I want to talk about.
Totally.
I didn't know 2.
There are 2 big things that I think I will be trying to use. One will be an
Crocs.
application. Well, no, we're always trying for Crocs. We're always wearing Crocs. Crocs are life. But outside of Crocs, my first big thing is my wedding. Like, I think it's a really exciting stage in anyone's life.
Yes.
And, like, I actually feel like I've been neglecting my wedding lately, which is such a weird thought because it's like, okay, it's in July. It is December. I do not have that much to do.
I
We're
think
also
that's
at a stage. Sorry.
yeah, we're gonna say the same thing. I think that's so normal. Is like when you first get engaged, there's so much to do, and then there's this huge lull, and then it gets close, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
we have to.
I
do
did have
stuff.
a nightmare the other day, and I think it's because I am so busy right now, where in my dream, it was my wedding all of a sudden tomorrow, but I was in the stage of planning I'm in right now, and I was like, oh
We would
god.
have pulled something together.
Oh, we
I-
were
I
running
have a
around a
vision-
mall, there was
I
like...
have a vision board ready to go for your wedding.
It
so
was a
we're
whole.
good.
I was like, "Oh, your brain is really trying to tell you. You think you're gonna forget something here." We're not gonna forget about our wedding. Our wedding is very important next year. I'm very excited to like obviously marry Andrew, and like I'm very excited to like share that moment with him, get married, celebrate with our friends and family, and just like have that moment that like you think of. Like I am the little girl who was like, "Oh, one day I'm gonna get married." Like that's always been really important to me.
Yeah.
So that's a big focus for me next year, and I actually would like to do better at like maybe like putting that back in my priority list because I have put it on the back burner because I'm in that stage.
Yeah.
So that's something I do want to like start making more time for. So that will be a big piece of my vision board probably for next year.
Yeah.
My other thing, and it's kind of more of a bigger goal, and I don't know my execution plan on it yet lately, but it really goes along
Then
with.
don't
my,
even bring it up.
I have no actual plan, but I have an idea. Kyle would be so out on that right now.
Don't
I
you
just like
dare.
really want to broaden my impact around women. And I know that's like such a big overtake, like that's a really big bold statement, but like I've really learned, especially about myself over the last like 6 months, it's really important to me more than ever. I used to be very like naive and like not naive, but like I think like ignorant, like I chose to be naive about it. Like it was easier to not know all of the like maybe bad sides of it. And because of that, I was never really driven to do the good sides of it either. So I just like, I don't know, I want to make an impact on some women's lives. I want to feel like that impact in my life, which I'm already feeling. And I want to like take all of these amazing experiences that I'm being given right now at this stage of my life and like be there for other women, which is like a big reason.
Well, if I can just say like one thing, I know this wasn't your goal for this year, but I know you're going to continue doing this. Is like you have 100% impacted me so much with I could say a million things, but Sam, I actually am going to get emotional right now because this past year, like being a new mom, I was not expecting to get emotional, but seriously, Sam, like you have been such an amazing, wonderful person for me this past year. And like you have been, me and Scotty are both women, and you have been such an amazing rock and like support system for both of us. So like you have already started that goal, and I know you're just going to continue it. I know you've done a million things for Meg. I know like you just are that way. Yeah. So you are well on your way to that goal already, just to give you a peace of mind for that, because I really appreciate you.
That really warms my heart. And also that to me is just like, that's normal. Like that's not even outside of the goal. Like, I want to be.
But see, that like that's even what I mean is like you're like, oh, this is such a big undertaking, a big goal to make. But that's just who Sam is.
More so a broad statement, I guess, is maybe a better word. Yeah. But, like, I don't know. I just, like, I want to end next year with, like, maybe that same warm, fuzzy feeling like you totally just gave me. But, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so many people out there who could just, like, I know I can change someone's life. I just don't know how to change, like, how that looks yet.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, what that path looks like for me. And I'm going to keep using the resources I can. But that, I think, is something that maybe I haven't planned for in previous years, that this year is becoming something I want to focus on.
I think just also for you, Sam, just knowing that it is something that comes naturally to you in the way that I've watched you support Tay this year in a million ways that you've supported me this year, in a million ways that you've supported us in many years past. I think it is something that comes really naturally to you. So I think also going into this year with it being a goal for yourself, just I would encourage you, I guess, to not get caught up in it having to be like a super tangible thing, because it is something that comes really naturally to you. Yeah. So now it's just about like you being in the right place to do those things. And I think through the career that you have now, through the other communities that you're building, through all of these things, you are naturally going to be. Yeah. And so I also, like, it doesn't sound like you are, but I just would say that it's something that comes so naturally to you that I don't think you need to put pressure on yourself to be like, how am I going to do this? Mm-hmm. Because it's literally just like, oh, if you're there, you're going to do it.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I think, too, it works really well with your word, if that is the word you pick. Of application, taking the things that you've learned in the past and really being more intentional from your past year and the balance that you found in your life from the previous. Now you can apply all of that to really be more full force. And that's the hope.
I want to go past our spectrum of our little girl group, because I think our girl group's amazing, and I think what we have is so special. So like now, how can I make the other?
Hopefully, this podcast is a good way to do it.
I mean, it was a big reason that I thought the three of us doing this would be such a good idea, because it just gives one more platform to reach people. But
totally,
I
love it.
That's my 2025 is I'm gonna get married and hopefully change some lives. So
I love that. I love that.
Great. Okay, so my two that I'll talk about. One,
you also can talk about more later.
Okay.
Like in another question. If you
I'm like, no.
You're like, I will not be. You're like, I'm getting rid of everything on my vision board except for two pictures.
Doing two things. One is like a tangible thing, and then the other is more of that general feeling and vibe. But one is I want to run another half marathon, and I want to beat my time from last year.
Whoa.
So,
and we will all be there to cheer you on.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not so rainy.
Yes. Yeah. We're thinking maybe like I want to do it in BC or something, like travel somewhere
August
for it.
Maybe.
Yeah. Peak Okanagan summer running a marathon. But yeah, I would like to run it under 2 hours if I could, whether that's like 1 hour, 59 minutes and 59 seconds.
Whatever.
It'll be under 2 hours. Because the first, like last year when I did it, I just wanted to complete it. And I was happy with that goal.
Did you run?
2:08.
Okay, yeah, right.
So 8 minutes is a lot to shave off. But I think
I
can do it.
7 months postpartum the first time you did it.
True. And I said, like, I was talking to Tyler about this because I was like, do you think taking 8 minutes off is like too much? Like, do you think that's me being way too ambitious? And he's like, no, because you said you literally enjoyed running your half marathon. Don't enjoy it this time. And because like I took it easy. I wanted to enjoy it. I didn't have a time limit.
Don't enjoy it. Don't have fun.
That's seriously what he said. He's like,
you
don't
had fun doing it. Yeah. I was miserable.
Exactly. He's like, don't enjoy it. And
I saw him at the finish line. Ty took don't have fun. Seriously.
Yeah. So I think I can do that. And again, if I don't, that's okay. But that's my goal.
Yeah. I love that.
It's a measurable goal. I like it.
A measurable goal, because I do like having something to, be able to measure and like really work towards that way.
Yes. I'm gonna just really quickly give everybody a piece of advice. If you have a friend who is running a race that you are going to watch them for, make them run with an air tag.
Yeah.
Because that was the biggest thing that we learned from coming to watch you guys finish is a bunch of people around us had air tags of their friends so they could see exactly where they are. So then you can make sure that you're close to the fence for when they cross the finish line and all of those sorts of things. Because everybody's just rotating out. They see their person cross and they leave. They see their person cross, they leave. Yeah. And so then you can make sure that you're there for right when they finish. So
because I thought about a million guys where Tyler, I'm like, oh, there's Ty, there he is. No, that's not.
yeah, and then you get closer to be like some like, I don't know, like
Not-
6'8" like redhead or something. We're like, oh, what?
Not my husband. So AirTag would be a big tip.
I never would have thought of it.
Yeah, it was so smart.
Yeah.
We didn't think about it either.
We kept seeing people around us with their phones out being like, oh, they're right here. Okay, let's move up.
Yeah.
So you're getting AirTags for Christmas.
We have AirTags.
Oh.
I
Yeah,
know.
they're in our luggage.
Just didn't think about it.
I just, didn't think about it. So we'll be doing that this year when I run my next half
Not that
marathon.
that's a goal, but just like hot tip.
It's a very good tip. And then the other thing is kind of, like I was saying, more of that feeling. And I think what sparked this for me is I saw this quote that was like, I do not want to be remembered as a woman or that woman that was always exhausted and stressed out. And so I think that kind of goes into a similar vibe that I had last year of just
All of us are like,
I'm like, oh, was that quote written about me?
Right?
Oh, God.
and there was other things underneath it. It was a longer quote, but that was like the big main takeaway. And I think it kind of goes into one of my vibe feelings of last year of like just slowing down and being more intentional. But like, I really just want to be more in the moment, slow down, and have more fun. Like sometimes I can just get so worried about everything that needs to get done around the house, worried about blah, blah, blah. And like all of these stupid life things that really don't matter. And I can get overly stressed out unnecessarily, I think, especially now becoming a mom. There's a million other things I need to think about, and there's always this and this and this, and I feel like my to-do list is never done, and there's always and then I'm just stressed out and not actually enjoying the moments I'm in sometimes because I'm always thinking in the back of my mind, oh, I need to do this, oh, I need to do this.
Yeah.
And I don't, especially now being a mom too, but even if I wasn't a mom, I don't want to be this way, but I don't want Scotty growing up being like, oh, my mom was always stressed and overwhelmed and she was always flustered and couldn't just enjoy a nice craft with me because she was always worried about this. And, you know, I just really want to be very intentional about that this year of like, have more fun, enjoy the moments you're in. Who cares about the other stuff? Like, yes, it's always going to be there. It's something I'm working on with myself of like trying not to worry about those so much. But I just really want to slow down, be more fun. I think be kinder to myself. That kind of goes in with that as well of like, just being kinder to myself, my body, me being a mom, to my friends, who I am as a wife, what I'm doing in my life. When I go back to work, being kinder to myself with all of those things. And I think they all tie together into that general feeling of, I just don't want to be remembered as that person that was always stressed, always overwhelmed. I just want to have fun.
Well, and as your friend, especially because I think I'm really curious to see kind of how that return to work is going to feel for you because 18 months away only with your baby, like that's such a beautiful thing, but
it's
like
drastic,
it's also
though.
So it's like a culture shock. Like I feel like you had a culture shock of working every single day to then, oh, I don't work at all. Like I have no schedule, creating your own schedule, and now you're going to have to like, there's a whole new navigation.
That's another goal of mine is like navigating that.
Yeah, because that's going to be like a huge thing of just like, okay, I have now 8 hours a day where I'm not with Scotty, like that alone. So I really encourage you, I will as your friend, but also I encourage you to like really keep that in mind.
Yeah, please hold me accountable to it. That's like part of the beauty of this is
totally
like holding us or each other accountable.
I honestly feel like we should do a full episode on this, but one thing I'm really like interested to just hear like way deeper thoughts on for you is also like the return to work is what I think we should do a full episode on at one point. But also, when you return to work, 99% sure you will be working from home. And so then if that's like, oh, it's so nice, at least I don't have to be going into an office and having extra commute and whatever, but how you'll feel being at home and with Scotty not being there or being at home and like whatever. Like, I just think that'll be...
It's going to be...
I'm not trying to say this to be like, oh, it's a social experiment, but I'm like, oh, it's so interesting to
honestly,
like watch that.
Seriously, and it is, like you said, we're kind of getting off on a bit of a tangent here, so we can wrap this up quickly to get on your goals. But it has been, like, when I think about my life for the past few years, it's been really amazing, but a lot of really quick changes that are very drastic. I'm 1 minute I'm working and then I get pregnant. Your body and everything goes through so many changes in really what is a short period of time. It feels like a million years, but a very short period of time. Then all of a sudden I'm not pregnant anymore and I have a newborn baby. I'm not working at all and I'm trying to navigate this not alone. I had support, but kind of alone to an extent.
You're the only
you know?
person going through what you're going through.
Exactly. So I'm figuring that out, figuring out my whole new reality. Then you're kind of coming out of the fog of like that newborn phase and you're trying to figure out your new normal. And then now all of a sudden here I am over a year later starting to think about now going back to work, which is a whole other range of emotions. I'm like excited about it. I'm super sad about it. It's going to be a whole new world for me. Like it's just so many drastic changes in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
So it will be very interesting to see, and like I think we should.
You
do
will be our social
an episode.
experiment come April.
Great.
I do also feel like it'll be good for you to have that like visual representation of some of these things because you're going into at least how big of a change this will be a little bit more with your eyes open.
For sure.
Obviously, there's going to be a million things that you don't know until you're there.
Yeah.
But I feel like the shift from like married and corporate girl to pregnant to baby, it's like you know it's a big change, but you don't really know till you're in it.
Not at all.
And I feel like you can anticipate the change a little bit more with this step. And so I think it'll be like good for you to build a vision board knowing that this year is going to be such a big change for you and that it's going to be a hard change in a lot of ways. And I feel like the change from being like even pregnant to baby, it's like you're just so excited to have a baby that you don't necessarily think of all the hard things of it.
You also don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of like, okay, I know it's going to be a change, but until you're in it, you don't know what to expect.
Oh, I'm never going to be alone again for like the next at least 18 months.
Literally. But like going back to work, I know what that was like before, but now I also have a baby. So, you know, I can't anticipate what that's like, but I know what working was like before.
It's like you know what each of them are like separate now.
Exactly.
And now it's like, oh, you don't
How
know
do
what
I
they're like
mesh
together, but you can make some assumptions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Cool.
Well, Meg, what is your goals for next year?
Okay, so first, now this sentence I'm about to say, it's not cool. And I understand the words I'm about to say, not cool. I saw this trend on Reels. It's like really resonating with me right now. And it was like, it's basically the concept of balancing woo-woo with Western. And so I know.
I'm gonna need an explanation.
Yeah. And so basically it's like people, it would just be
She's
like,
so hip with the kids.
Seriously, Sam and I
for
are like,
Reels?
well, what the hell
What's
is
lore
woo-woo
and
None of this is
woo-woo?
hip with the kids. This is like homesteading trad
Like when
life.
you say woo-woo, I'm thinking woo girls.
See,
Oh,
and I'm
no,
thinking
no.
like Reiki, like
Yes.
that woo-woo.
Okay, that's what I mean.
Okay.
So what it is
But
like
also
people will just, the videos are just whatever. It's like them in their kitchen or walking or something. Doesn't matter. But
Okay.
then the text over it will be like, I'm not using tampons anymore, but I'm going to like Western medicine to get a pap smear. I'm going to bake my own bread, but if I'm out and I'm hungry, I'm going to go through a drive-thru instead of skipping a meal.
Okay.
And it's
so
just
more
basically-
that woo-woo side of it, but understanding that everything isn't in the woo-woo land.
Exactly. And so it's basically the concept of like, you don't have to be 100% in either of those boxes.
Okay.
Nice.
And for the last like 6 months, I feel like I've made some like pretty big shifts with the kind of food I eat. I've been like, no refined flour, processed food, get away from me, like whatever. But there are definitely, I'm not 100% that way and like we'll still order out and whatever. And so I think that just like those like sort of like health decisions that are a little bit more woo woo are just like are more interesting to me. And I'm just like learning more about the food we're actually eating and all of those sorts of things. But I think that like trend just kind of opened up of how I want to be next year, of having a balance of it and not then feeling like, okay, I don't want to eat refined flour, for example. So when I go out, I'm never eating bread because every restaurant will serve refined flour, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I'm not going to change my whole lifestyle for this. So I think like that's like a concept that I'm like starting to explore as we like get towards our vision board night.
So
It's
more
just
like organic, natural, but without the hard, true, like, this is the only way you can live.
Totally. And just finding those ways that like finding those values in the woo-woo that do speak to me and then like implementing those into my life, but then not being like, okay, and also we don't have electricity anymore because I want to live
We're
like
gonna come over here and Meg's got like just plants coming out of the walls.
Okay.
Totally. Or like I really want to start a garden next summer. Like that's something that I want to like put a big garden in our backyard. And so I want to like grow more food. But then I also know like I'm not bringing that inside in the winter. Like that's too much for me. Like that's too much to handle. And so just like finding those sorts of things.
I think that'll be really good for you, and I hope you don't take this as a bad way, but I think your personality naturally sometimes can be all or nothing.
Oh, 100%.
And
I'm
so,
very not in the gray.
Yeah, you're like, no, I'm either doing it 120% or I'm
Totally.
not doing it at all.
Yeah.
Which is so great in a lot of ways, but I think I love that goal for you, because I think that's a very good mix for yourself to not be like, okay, you're
totally
never touching a cheeseburger again in your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you'll have a good balance, and I think that will be good for you.
Totally. Well, and it's even like, I want to be more in this like natural whatever space, but then it's like, but I'm gonna go to studio fitness still.
Right.
And like those sorts of things. So yeah, so that's one. And then the second is I do have some big like career goals, especially in the first half of the year. I don't want to share exactly what they are because I don't want to jinx anything.
Totally.
But I do, that like career is going to be a focus for me more in like the earliest part of the year. So I definitely will have some like things just about career and just like growing. I work for a startup, and so I want to really like kind of make my mark on it in a couple ways that I want to accomplish like pretty quickly. So that's something that's like going to definitely be on my board for the beginning of the year.
I love that.
I love it.
Cool. Okay. Very last thing to wrap up. And Sam, this is like kind of inspired by you, but Tam, I'm going to put both of us on the spot because I've not thought about this at all.
Okay.
I want you guys to tell me like one word or a quick sentence of like what your year you want. So my example, like for you last year was like, I want a slower life. Mm-hmm. So do you guys have a like concept or a word?
So like a short summary of what we're hoping for next year.
Totally.
I would say mine is impact and calmness. I want to find calmness for myself, but I would like to send impacts in other ways.
I love that.
I think mine would be like having more fun.
I love that.
Girls just want to have fun.
Seriously. And I think there's more to that, but if just off the top of my head right now, I'm just going to say that.
Yeah. I think that also like encompasses a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I love that. I think mine is like, I want to zoom in. I want to like, really focus on like what's right around me, focus on like what I can control, be more present, all of that. Mm-hmm. And I just really picture that like, it's like, so it's like cozy to me, like that kind of vibe.
I love it.
I love that.
Cool. Okay. Well,
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you haven't already, go make some vision boards.
Yes.
Even if you're not creative like me, it can still be fun. Just find the right way to do it for yourself.
Exactly. Yes. And tag us in your vision board.
Yeah. Share your goals with us so we can all be accountable together.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So yeah, comment down below what goals you have for 2025.
And we're going to see everyone in the new year.
Yay! Sweet.